Welcome to the Louisville Urban League's Workforce Wednesday, a 60-minute virtual series led by the region's top corporate recruiters, offering leadership development and professional trainings. Tune in monthly for our live hiring events from many of the best corporations in Louisville, Kentucky. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining Workforce Wednesday. This is presented by the Louisville Urban League. I am Tiana Barnes. I am a program manager here in the Center for Workforce Development. Our guest employer today is Masonic Homes. They are going to be presenting at our virtual hiring event. They're going to be sharing about all of the great opportunities that they have at their company. And presenting for Masonic Homes is Kirsten Farah. I'm going to share a little information about Kirsten before she gets started. So, Kirsten Farah is a human resource professional with over 20 years of experience. She has been with Masonic Homes of Kentucky for the past 6 years in the position as a corporate human resource manager. Prior to Masonic, she worked with an organization in Indiana that provided human services programs such as foster care and Kindred Healthcare System for 10 years in various HR capacities. She enjoys being a true generalist and being able to affect employees' personal and professional lives through many facets of human resources. Kirsten is originally from Sacramento, California, and moved to Louisville over 20 years ago. Her husband, Tim, is a CPA, and she has 2 children and 2 dogs. In her spare time, she enjoys being outdoors, going to concerts, eating good food, reading, and spending time with family. A little known fact is that she lived in Paris for 10 months and she speaks French. Good morning, Kirsten. How are you today?
I'm fine, Tiana. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for joining us. Before we get started, I just wanted to share a few housekeeping notes. For those that are joining us today, if you could keep your microphone muted during the presentation, and then there will be time at the end for question and answers. All right, I'll hand it over to you, Kirsten.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Tiana. I certainly appreciate the opportunity to be here with the Urban League and also being able to share information about Masonic. There are still so many people out there that don't know who we are, so I'm always happy to talk about it. Let's see, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen now. As Tiana mentioned, my name is Kirsten Farah, and I was a corporate HR manager, but I just was promoted this week. So I'm going to be working directly with employees and our hiring managers in employee engagement. So this is a very exciting time for me. So let's go ahead and get started. So Masonic Homes Kentucky has been around for over 150 years. We started off as a home for widows and orphans of Masons. And then in the late 80s, we opened it up to senior living. So we're a very different organization now. But as always, we are open to serving seniors and also Masons, although you don't have to be a Mason to have services provided by Masonic. We are a very stable organization. Obviously, we've been around for over 150 years and we're not going anywhere. So that brings peace of mind, especially in these days when you're hearing about healthcare organizations being taken over by other healthcare organizations, just knowing that we've been here for a while and we're not going anywhere. Our nursing home model is very innovative and it's different than the typical nursing centers. I don't know how many of you have been in a nursing center, but generally speaking, when you go into one, it's very loud. There's lots of bells going off and other things, and it can be very confusing for people. At our nursing center here, we have a wireless monitoring system. And so the whole reason for that is that we want to make it more of a home-like setting for our residents, and that helps them not only to enjoy their lives, but then also for those that are doing short-term rehab, they're able to get well faster and return home. There are other innovative things about our Sam Swope Care Center as well, and we'll see that here in just a few minutes. We do have a state-of-the-art rehab gym and our own therapists. Usually therapy folks are contracted out, but we have our own solid team that have been with us for years. And that also helps to improve the residents' lives when they have that same person working with them time and time again so that they can heal faster. So not only are we into aging services, we also do have a pediatric daycare and preschool here on our grounds called Sproutlings, and it's been around for 10 years. It's one of two what they call PPAC facilities in the state of Kentucky, and what that essentially means is that it's different from the traditional daycare center. We are able to pair typical children and children who are medically fragile in the same classroom so that they can learn and grow together. And we have teachers as well as nurses who are able to take care of them in the same room. And that just allows for them to, carry on what they need to do on a daily basis while also learning and growing. And we think it's wonderful. I have a view of their playground right outside my window, so I often see them and it just makes me really happy. So our residents are the central focus of everything that we do, and you're going to see that here again in a moment. We do have different levels of lifestyles. So a lot of times in healthcare, you'll see that maybe there's a nursing center or maybe there's an assisted living building, but very few places actually have everything here on one campus like we do. And so we have independent living all the way to long-term care. And so when I say different levels of living, I'm mainly referring to the independent living side of things. So they have premium care, they have care that is at market rate, and then they also have something called life care. So there's different options for them. We're also known for our dementia care, which again is not something that you find all over. And we're very fortunate that we have a dedicated, stable team that is taking care of our folks with those needs. We are also a nonprofit organization. And oftentimes people will say, well, you're in healthcare, you're probably making a ton of money. Well, we are in healthcare, but we're also in senior living. And because we're a nonprofit, we put all of the funding above and beyond what we just need to kind of get by back into our employees, back into our residents and our communities. So essentially putting the resources exactly where they're needed. I'm going to go ahead and share a video with you now. Bear with me just a moment. I apologize for that. I'm not sure what is going on with the audio, but just know that that video is actually part of a larger video on Masonic Homes Kentucky and our history. It is a little bit longer, but it's on YouTube if you're interested in learning a little bit more about our history. It was produced probably about 6 or 7 years ago. And it was actually so well done that it was put up for an Emmy Award. So it is definitely worth seeing if you're interested. But let me move on and tell you a little bit about some of our locations. As we were seeing in the video, Masonic Home Louisville here is our main campus. We do also have a smaller campus in Shelbyville, but here we have 82 acres and we've actually run out of space. So we won't be building anything else in terms of brick and mortar, but just know that we have quite a few services here on our campus. So in addition to our Sam Swope Care Center, which houses short-term rehab and long-term care, as well as outpatient therapy and dialysis. We also have assisted living, which is Grove Point. And Grove Point's only been around for about 5 years, but we are thinking about adding on to that because the services are definitely needed in terms of places for seniors to go. We also have, offer personal and memory care, and that is Crescent Grove. And Crescent Grove has an area that is in lockdown for dementia residents, but otherwise personal care is just a step above assisted living in terms of needing just a little bit more assistance in their day-to-day activities. We also have 3 independent living communities here on the campus. Marilee is very focused on health and wellness. And so they offer dance lessons, they have cooking classes, there's also pool. And a lot of the activities are really focused again on that health and wellness aspect of it. Meadow is the most recent one, and it really focuses on arts. And so there are classes that the residents can take to learn how to paint, to do pottery, and other sorts of medias. There's also dance classes there as well. And then a large movie theater that they can use, not just for movies, but then also they have individuals who come in and perform, sing, dance, or just give lectures. So very, very much art focused. And lastly, Village was actually the first because it's actually made from the houses where the widows and the orphans lived. And so on our campus, we have a giant circle, and the houses are there around that circle. They're all original to the campus. Now, the rooms were actually redone. So the apartments are much different than they were when the kids lived here, but they still maintain that original state that they were in here on the campus. Also, I mentioned Sproutlings before. Sproutlings Pediatric Daycare and Preschool has been around for 10 years, and they are actually right below us here. And so they offer lots of activities for the kids. They've got a very fun playground, as I mentioned before, and they are always doing things on campus when the weather's nice. So they'll go out for buggy rides. They will also interact with the seniors. So for example, around Halloween, they'll do trick or treating. Around Christmas time, they'll do some little gifts. Different times of year, maybe like around Derby, they'll make Derby hats with them. So we give them an opportunity to really sort of interact and get to know each other. We also have a clinic here on our campus that serves our residents as well as our employees. I do often get asked if that is open to folks off-site, and I think it's on a limited basis with particular insurance that you might have. But it has been around for a few years now, and they offer a variety of services, again, for our residents and our employees. So it could be somebody needs to have vaccinations, or maybe somebody needs to have an x-ray, or just in general, if somebody's not feeling good, they can go there and be seen by a doctor. So it's very convenient, especially for employees who maybe don't have time to go off campus to see their regular doctor or can't get in, that they have somebody that they can go see. And First Light Home Care is another part of Masonic. It's a franchise of First Light across the United States. It's called First Light Home Care of Louisville, and it provides services to seniors who are still living at home, which allows for them to stay as home as long as possible. So they will provide general companionship. They can do light housekeeping, prepare meals, run errands, and things along those lines. So we're very happy that they work with us too, so that we can not only serve seniors here on our campus, but also out in the local community as well. Now, Masonic Homes Shelbyville has been around for a long time as well. And they are located 30 miles away, and they offer some of the same services that we have here on our campus, but just on a smaller scale. They don't have independent living there right now. However, it's one of the things that we're considering for the future, that we would create some independent living patio homes there, so we can offer some of that to those folks out in that community as well. We also have something called Spring Hill Village, which is a maintenance-free patio home living community that is located in northern Kentucky. We don't really have a lot of contact with them. They're pretty self-sustaining. We have a part-time employee who works there, but otherwise the campus is beautiful. Not as big as the one here, but it is lovely as well. So I wanted to talk a minute about the continuing care retirement community, and that's what Masonic is labeled. In the aging care services industry, There's a lot of different components, and we just happen to have the majority of them here on our campus. And so when we call it continuing care, that essentially means as people age, they're able to move to the different levels or the different communities pretty seamlessly. So they don't need to do research like, my mom's in independent living right now, but I know she's going to need assisted care living pretty soon. Where do I start looking for that? It's all here on one campus. And so on the left-hand side of the screen, you'll see independent living. And then as their medical needs change, they do move through the other levels. So they might go to personal care, they might go to assisted living, they might go to dementia care, and then finally end up in long-term care. Now, we don't have hospice care. We do a little bit of what they call palliative care out on our Shelbyville campus. And we also don't have adult daycare, but that might be something that we would consider for the future if we decided that we wanted to expand our services. It's hard to tell, but the need is going to be great, especially with so many people who are getting older and living longer. I want to talk a bit about our the things that we live by here at Masonic. So remarkable service is the big one. And I try to explain it like this. So I don't know if how many of you have ever been to Chick-fil-A, but if you notice that Chick-fil-A is a little bit different than some of the other fast food organizations out there. Their food is fresh, it's fast, they do it very quickly. They are willing to help you, whatever it is that you need. They're very polite about it. And you can get that same sort of consistent service time and time again, no matter if you go to the same Chick-fil-A or if you go to a different Chick-fil-A. But essentially, we want to be able to provide the same service each and every time, no matter if it's a resident, if it's another employee, if it's a visitor or a guest. We want to show them that same remarkable service. We also value passion. So when we are looking for people to join our team, we are looking for that passion to come out in what they're doing. And most people in healthcare, they have that passion. Otherwise, they wouldn't do it because it is a difficult job. But the passion for serving others and building relationships with residents and family members is a very big part of who we are as an organization. We value growth also, and not just growth in terms of the number of buildings that we're building, but also growth in terms of the services that we're offering. I mentioned before that we may not be growing here on our campus, but we might consider expanding some of our services. And then lastly, we value the innovation that I talked about before. And since we didn't get to see the video, I'll share a couple of other things with you about that innovation. So we have what is called the household model at our Sam Swope Care Center, which is again very different than some of the typical nursing centers. And so the household model, one of the things that entails is that normally in a nursing center, you have one location where everybody goes to eat their meals. On our households, there's a small dining area where residents can gather, maybe with other residents or with family members or guests, and they can have a quiet meal, because normally in a very large sort of open area, and there's a lot of people, it's very difficult to hear. You can't really carry on a conversation. So this also makes it a little bit more home-like for them, that they can have people join them for a quick meal. Also, we talked about the wireless monitoring system, but the other thing I wanted to mention with our households is that they are staffed for that particular household, whether it's long-term care or short-term rehab or dialysis. We have the same people caring for our residents consistently. So for example, you might have doctors, nurses, dietary aides, housekeeping, LPNs, CNAs, nursing assistants, so on and so forth. And they're all working together to take care of the residents. And they get to know their residents very well, so they know exactly how best to care for them. So I think that's really important. One of the things about Masonic is that we're very much always looking for what's going to serve our residents best. And so we continue that innovation as much as we can. Talking about our educational opportunities. So we are in healthcare, and we all know that there is definitely a need for healthcare workers. There's a shortage, and there will continue to be a shortage. So we are always looking at different ways to reach out to people who might be interested in becoming a nurse or being in that nursing career. We do offer our NA to CNA program, which basically means that you'll start off as a nursing assistant and doing various duties, meanwhile, getting education and preparation to become a CNA and take the training exam. And then from there, moving up to become either a CMT or an LPN or even an RN. So we're there very much to support our employees as they're going through their career pathway. We did talk about kids as well. And so if maybe people are interested in nursing, but not necessarily in a typical nursing center situation, we do have nurse workers in our Sproutlings pediatric daycare and preschool too. So that's an opportunity, especially if you love kids. We talked about our campus as well. I wish I had more time to show you our campus because it is absolutely beautiful all 4 seasons. And lastly, some of the perks that we offer to our employees. We have a free monthly TARC pass for full-time and part-time employees. We offer a Verizon phone plan, which is just $36 a month per line. We offer free apparel as well as same day pay. I know that's very big these days, is being able to access your pay in advance. And so we do have that capability. And then flexible schedules. We know that sometimes people may be working part-time someplace else. And so we try to be as flexible as we can to make sure that people are able to, do what they need to do in terms of making a living. And then in terms of our positions, I've already mentioned nursing, but I also want to make sure everybody understands that there are other opportunities here at Masonic, especially in dining services and hospitality. We have servers, dietary aides, cooks, and sous chefs. And as a matter of fact, next week, the 18th of January from 1 to 3 p.m., we will be hosting open interviews at our Meadow Active Lifestyle community. And so I urge you, if you're interested in hearing more about that, there's some information on our website, and you can even register to attend the event. Also, our daycare and preschools, I mentioned teachers and nurses. And then we have other supporting departments as well. So activities, so in other words, putting together activities for our residents, both inside and offsite. Administration, so receptionists and other support staff. Environmental, so that would be our housekeepers, our floor techs, and anybody else who's dealing generally with the building. Grounds, so we have people who work on our grounds year round. Maintenance, so they take care of maintenance needs at each of our communities. And then security as well. We do have security on our campus, and they're here to help us 24/7. So I'm going to go ahead and share the link here to our website if you are interested in learning a little bit more. And let me stop sharing. So there's the link. And I'm going to go ahead and open it up to questions now.
So at this time, you can either type your question in the chat or you can unmute yourself and ask your question. And while we're waiting for someone to put a message in the chat, is Masonic Homes a second chance employer?
So I would say we're very heavily regulated when it comes to the nursing side of things, that's because we have to follow state and federal guidelines. I would say we're a little bit more relaxed on the independent living side. So I think we take everything on a case by case basis, and we really make sure that we have all the information before we can determine, if somebody is able to join us.
Do you guys offer any educational opportunities for individuals that are like seeking to get a CNA or an MA?
So other types of education aside from nursing, is that what you're asking?
Like they want to become a CNA. Do you guys have like
Oh,
a training opportunity for them?
yes. Uh-huh. So we do hold CNA training classes at our Shelbyville location, and we will be holding those shortly here in Louisville as well as we are supporting our employees with an LPN prerequisite class. And so they can go ahead and attend school, get all their prerequisites done, and then move from being a CNA to an LPN and taking that class.
Okay. So, they would have to be if they wanted to be a CNA, they would have to be hired first, and then they'll go through the training?
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
And
it's
there's, oh, go ahead.
so it's like, paid, work training. So they're learning, but they're also training and getting paid at the same time.
Correct. Yes,
Awesome, that's a great opportunity.
it is. We do have quite a few people that are interested in that. And again, we're here to support them as they make their way through that whole process.
Good. Can you explain the same day pay a little bit more? So a person works and
Sure.
then they're paid at the end of their workday?
Yes. So at the end of the workday, when they are clocked out, the system automatically recognizes that they would be have access to up to 50% of their pay from that particular day.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You guys have a lot of great perks and benefits at Masonic Homes.
Well, and we're always looking for new ideas and ways that we can support our employees, both professionally and personally. We also have an impact fund. And so if employees are finding that they're having issues, whether, maybe they have a house fire, maybe their car breaks down, or maybe they just need some help paying maybe a utility bill, that they can reach out to us and get some support. And we also have a partner with Family Scholar House, so they're able to help our employees as well.
I love to hear that. You guys are helping to remove barriers for your employees so that they can be successful as they are employed with Masonic Homes. And I love to hear that. That is such a wonderful opportunity. Um,
Absolutely. Yeah. And we know there's a lot going on in the world right now. And there seems like there are a lot of barriers. And so we really try to help each individual with what their issue is so that they can be successful, like you said. Yeah.
mhm.
Not seeing any questions.
So what's like the typical hiring process? They will apply online for a position that they would like, and then what's
Yes. And
next?
our recruiter will go ahead and review their resume and then determine if they meet the qualifications of the position. If so, they'll go ahead and set up a phone screen to talk through the different opportunity within that position, as well as tell a little bit about Masonic. And then if they want to continue, then we'll move into an interview in person, and that will give them even more information and insight into what the position would entail. And then after that, if they are a good fit for our organization, we will go ahead and make them an offer, and then have them go through the hiring process, which entails taking a drug screen, doing a background check, submitting references, and then conducting or completing their onboarding paperwork. And then they go through orientation with other employees and learn a little bit more about the organization as a whole.
Good.
I see a question. Is there an education level for the job? It does depend on the particular job. So, for example, if you are a CNA, you want to make sure that you are licensed as a CNA. Or if there's a requirement for you to have a certain degree, that would be within the job description. But certainly, at a minimum, I think having a high school diploma or a GED is certainly a minimum requirement. Now, we are looking at ways where we can move away from that because we know that there are some folks who are challenged and may not have those items. And so we're looking to partner with another organization that might be able to help people with GEDs, or looking at changing the requirements of the positions where we're able to based on regulations. Can a person work for you with a disability? That we take those on a case by case basis, only because there's a particular process that we have to go through in that case. But I would say, if you find something that you're interested in, certainly apply.
We have a question also by Delia Dixon. She wants to know, are these employment opportunities open for all as long as you have a degree?
So again, it's going to depend on the particular position. You don't have a high school diploma would be the minimum requirement. But certain other positions might have a degree requirement. It just really depends on what it is. I hope, does that answer your question, Ms. Dixon? Okay.
No,
Any
we
other
have
questions? Oh,
our
go ahead.
clientele here at the league as all over. So we have our seniors and then we have our general population, but we also have teenagers that are interested in work opportunities. Is there a space for a young person, maybe in high school, that may want to work there? What kind
Absolutely.
of
So the minimum age requirement we have in that case is 17. And we also do work with some students already via our connection with the Seneca High School. So they have students that identify the nursing career pathway. And so we do a lot of work with them. But then also we found, especially during the summers and during the holidays, that a lot of high school students are interested in picking up some hours. And so they've been working as servers in our restaurants or dietary aides in our other location.
Good.
Does our company have entry-level jobs for people who don't have a high school diploma or a GED? It's going to vary by job again, but overall, I would say that a high school diploma or GED is a requirement. But again, we're moving in the direction of trying to identify where we don't necessarily need to have those requirements. Now, Tiana, I'm not familiar. Does the Louisville Urban League help folks with getting a GED?
Yes, those opportunities are available for our clients if they express that they want to get their GED. They just
Okay,
let their case manager know, and then we could help them to get that. Mhm.
wonderful. That's great news. Well, let me go ahead and share my contact information in case anybody has questions or would like to reach out a little bit later on. And I'll put that in the chat too. How much does the job pay? Okay, that's a very good question. I would say our starting salary is around $14, but again, it's really going to depend on the position. It's going to depend on the experience that you have and other factors. So bare minimum would be that 14 an hour. Good questions, everybody.
Awesome. So if there are other questions, you guys feel free to drop those in the chat. Kirsten, I would like to just thank you for coming on. Oh, I see there's something in the Q&A. It says, it's from Miss Delia again. She wants to know, would administrative experience be something looked at favorably?
Administrative experience. I would say in particular for our administrative type roles. So for, we call them concierges here, but receptionists essentially. They do look favorably on that. Also, when we have any sort of accounts receivable or account payable type opportunities available, I think that's probably a good, strong background to have for that type of role.
Okay. Those are some great questions. Thank you all for joining us today on Workforce Wednesday for this live hiring event with Masonic Homes. Um, you guys have Kirsten's information. You have the link to apply. And we have another question from Mr. Craig. He wants to know, can a person who has a record get hired from you, from Masonic Homes?
Okay, so I would say in general, we look at everything, excuse me, on a case by case basis. And so certainly we're under particular regulations for the nursing center side of things, but might be a little bit more open on our independent living side. It really just depends. We can't really anticipate what's going to come back on a background check.
Okay. So in that case, you would encourage a person to apply and
Yes,
just go from there.
go through the process. Yes, uh-huh.
Okay. And now, if any of our LUL clients are interested in applying with Masonic Homes, you guys can let me know. I'm in workforce. Patrice or Mr. David Anderson can also help you guys, and we can walk with you through at least getting your application applied. You can come and use our computer lab if necessary. Um, we'll help you with your resume. So just reach out and let us know. And again, thank you all for joining. If
Thank
there
you.
aren't any other questions, I will let you all go and give you your time back. But I want to wish everybody to have a good rest of the week and have a good weekend. Thank you, Kirsten. Thank you, Masonic Homes. We truly appreciate your partnership and enjoy working with you. So
We do as
nice to
well.
meet
Thank
you,
you.
Rachel. And we'll be working together more too.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, everyone. Have a good afternoon.
You
Bye.
too.